What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Today we're going to focus in on Zach Parise and what his future holds, whether it be in New Jersey or elsewhere. We're going to have his top 6 options, a little background. Parise, as you know, is an all-star left winger and U.S. Olympian in the prime of his career, just 27 years old, and has, he's done a lot in his NHL career, but his Devils teams haven't, especially comparable to the Devils teams at the early part of the century, I mean 10 years ago, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we're going to see what his future holds. There's a lot riding on his choice, where he goes. We're going to do a top 5. The first one's an honorable mention to Vancouver for Corey Schneider, Lou Lamoriello. Like I said, Marty Brodeur's a pending unrestricted free agent as well, and they need a young goaltender to, carry the Devils in the future. And Corey Schneider's the type of player you can do that with. Jordan Schrader. Obviously a first-round pick out of Minnesota, very talented offensive player. And Keith Ballard to unload that contract off the cap space to get Parise in there, and first-round pick. I don't know how likely that is. I think it'd fit in well with the Sedins, or even better on the second line with fellow U.S. Olympian Ryan Kesler. I think that'd be a very, very him, Kesler, and Booth, an All-American line. That'd be pretty sick. But let's see. Number 5. The LA Kings obviously just changed coaches, bringing in Sutter after having an off season of bringing in some great players and Mike Richards and Simon Gagne, but haven't been playing up to expectations. They have to give up young Russian center Andrei Loktionov, young goaltender Jonathan Bernier, excuse me, it was his cousin Steven, who is in the same boat as Schneider, stuck behind an incumbent at number 1 with a history of success that you can get a lot back in return for. And something that Lou would want to help rebuild the Devils. And Justin Williams and Scott Parse, so the cap numbers add up. Justin Williams is a pretty good winger. Injury prone, but I'm not going to say fill. A, you got to unload his contract, and B, be pretty good fit out there in New Jersey. Around Ashton, Adam Henry, all those guys. Number 4, the reigning Cup champs. This is where it gets a little bit dicey. Like I said, you need a young goalie, Tuukka Rask, Jordan Caron, young, gritty winger with some offensive upside, and defenseman David Wasowski, who is, in my opinion, a young Brian Rafalski, former New Jersey Devil great. Kind of throw him in there. Essentially, getting Parise in this Bruins lineup, there's no guarantees in hockey, but they'd be pretty damn near guaranteed repeating as Cup champs. With the way Thomas is playing, you're not going to beat Thomas 3 times in a game, and with Parise, you're going to put up 4 goals. I mean, Parise in that lineup, with a Krejci or the Bergeron line would say the same, I think. Although him and Bergeron, I think, would play real well off each other. They're both great two-way players, in addition to having great offensive abilities. But, you can really slide them, mix and match, do a couple different line combinations with the top 9 forwards. But they got a great chance to repeat anyway. Why give up Tuukka, who's your future netminder and a great goalie, I might add, and a couple young players, for a guy that you might not be guaranteed, even if you re-sign him? Goalies don't grow on trees, and Thomas isn't getting any younger. He's having an absolute great year like he did last year, but, you need a young goalie to going forward. With a guy like Tuukka between the pipes, Stanley Cups might become a regular thing. Why bother trying to give up that to get a guy that you've already got plenty of skilled forwards? As much as I love Parise, but if the Bruins pull the trigger, they got the cap room to do it, and I had definitely go back. I can't see them not repeating with him in the lineup. But like I said, why bother? With Rask, you can win multiple cups down the line. So I think that'd be a good deal for either side. But see. Number 3, a little intriguing. The upstart Florida Panthers. Here's where another one where it gets a little bit dicey. Nick Bjugstad, obviously a great center out of the University of Minnesota. Colby Baker frontrunner and U.S. World Junior member. Alongside either Erica Branson and Keaton Ellerby or Jacob Markstrom in a first-round pick. Markstrom is one of the best young goalies outside of the NHL. His upside is probably higher than Bernier's and Schneider's, but I think it's not as high as Rask's. And Florida's having a great year. They're look to return to the playoffs the first time in 11 years, but 12 years actually. It'll be 2012. But Markstrom's the future of that organization in net. And those forwards are all very good and very skilled. There's 2 defensemen, obviously, Gabranson and Ellerby. Going to be great shutdown guys that can help rebuild the Devils' blue line that isn't what it was when they were winning the cups back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Markstrom is, I think, out of those guys, I think he's huge. He's technically sound. He's a very skilled and athletic goalie that will really, help the Devils out. But, does Florida want to give up on him? You got a future great goalie, to have a shot to maybe go to the second or third round this year. When with him in the young nucleus of forwards, you have the Jonathan Huberdeau, Quentin Howden, Bugstad, just a plethora of young forwards coming up through the organization. Do you really want to give up that and not have a goal? Do you really want to have all those skilled forwards and maybe resign Parise and not have a goalie to, backstop you? And you got a great young goalie. That's the hardest organization to find and develop, and that goes without saying. So, do you really want to give up on all that for a guy that, might leave? And even if he stays, he can't stop the puck. He's a great defensive player, but he ain't no goalie, But we'll see what happens. I think, and like I said, there's no, even if he doesn't get moved at the deadline, or let's just say he could be that July 1st, and we're going to talk about that later in the episode. If he's there July 1st, all these teams have a chance to sign him, especially Florida and the Bruins because they get the cap room. But I digress. Number 2 option, staying in New Jersey with a 7-year, $52 million contract. Pretty basic, if you like playing in New Jersey, stay there. Maybe you unload some of those contracts, get some young guys. Lou makes some moves, or Lou retires, and a younger GM with a better hockey mind for today's game brings in players that better suit the Devils system, and you can build around better than the nucleus they have. Kovalchuk's contract is gonna kill you for absolute years, literally, next decade and a half, really. But he's you got a great player in Parise. Might as well surround him with some skilled playmakers, and see what you can do, and maybe find a goalie, and hopefully, for the sake of the Devils fans, return to the Cup glory that they experienced those 3 times in the late 90s and the 2000s. But, like I said, that's all dependent on moving the cap room. How much does he want to stay there? No offense to the people in New Jersey, but you can go to Florida and not pay state taxes. Obviously, the taxes in New York and New Jersey are pretty high. But and that's another thing I didn't mention about the Panthers. If he ends up signing there on July 1st, there's no state taxes you got to pay. So, you get more money than you would if you signed with the Devils. But, like I said, I like seeing guys stay with the teams that brought him into the league, and that would be a good fit, but hey, we'll see. And the most likely option, in my opinion, is to the Minnesota Wild for Charlie Coyle, Jeff Hackett, and a first-round pick. Obviously, Charlie Coyle, a high upside forward, now playing for the St. John Sea Dogs of the Quebec Major Junior League. Great power forward with playmaking ability that you don't see at all, really. Hackett's a future number 1, I think, and you can really help you build from the crease out and help stop a lot of pucks, And the first-round pick's a first-round pick, But I think with that package, maybe throwing a Zach Phillips or depending upon what other prospects Jersey would want. But I think it'd be a great fit. It'd be a round peg and a round hole with Minnesota. They're really playing well. I understand they're set in the wing with Heatley instead of Gucci, but you can shuffle those guys around. Heatley's not getting any younger, even though they're about 2 years apart, Parise and Heatley. But you can really do a lot of things in that lineup, and he's really, playing in the hometown is always something everyone dreams of, and he'd be a great fit, and he'd be a real fan favorite in Minnesota. He's a perfect hockey player for that team. He'd fit great in Neo's system, and really, really deliver, be a possible 50-goal scorer, playing with a guy like Mikko Koivu, and the young players they have, and probably, Minnesota lose some of its young players. I think Granlund's another possibility they'd have to give up. I think Minnesota would want to hold on to him. If I had my thruthers, and as much as I like Charlie Coyle's game, if I could keep Granlund or Coyle, I'd keep Granlund because his skills, it's just unbelievable. But I think Coyle, if he was shifted to Jersey, he's already been traded once before he split a shift in the show by San Jose. He'd be a fan favorite with his play, with his two-way play, and just the intensity level he brings every shift. And he'd really help you rebuild up front, and really I keep saying really, what the fuck? He'd fit in great with the nucleus they have with Larson and Henrique and all those young guys that they're bringing up through the system. That's it for the power play with CJ on Zach Parise. We'll stay tuned for more episodes throughout hockey season, and more Zach Parise updates as a trade deadline, and after that, July 1st draws closer. Okay, guys.